Srimati Archana Varma, IAS Additional Secretary and Mission Director, National Water Mission, Government of India. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. Ma'am, we would like to hear from you and take us what would be the direction towards the skilled workforce in sustainable water management, which is very crucial both in the urban and the rural areas. What is the skill gap that you see and what is needed, what needs to be done? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the opportunity given to me for speaking on this very important topic of skilled workforce and sustainable water management. So, good evening, everybody. I am so pleased to be here because, as you all know, Assam is my cadre, and Kalyan Chakravarti is a very, very special friend. It's business with pleasure for me because it was a request from Kalyan, and I cannot refuse Kalyan ever. So, I would like to begin my talk by giving you some very startling facts about water. You see, the 2016th edition of the UN World Water Development Report on water and jobs mentions that 3 out of 4 jobs that make up the global workforce are either heavily or moderately dependent on water. This was really a startling fact to me. And water is the driving force for growth and development. Honorable PM in the recently concluded First All India State Ministers at Bhopal Conference has observed that Water Vision 2047 is an important dimension for the next 25 years of the Amrit Kal to the country's development. You know, friends, it is estimated that total utilizable water that we have is only 1126 billion cubic meter. And our demand for water, looking at agricultural growth, food demand, rapid urbanization, industrialization, coupled with the adverse effects of climate change and spatial and temporal variations, will be to the tune of 1150 billion cubic meter. So even if we store all the utilizable water, if we don't improve water management, that is the demand side, we are looking at a very bleak future, water secure future for India. And friends, it is estimated that lack of efficient skilled labor in water and sanitation contributes to estimated leakage of 30% of total withdrawal of fresh water, and that is not a mean amount. And there is also, as I've already said, an increased pressure on the existing water resources to meet the agriculture, land, and domestic demands. And so it is very important, friends, that we work on improving the water resource management, as water plays a very, very important role in the creation of jobs. Generally, you will not associate water with job creation. But my whole talk will, I hope in a way, convince you that not only 3 out of 4 jobs are dependent on water. Around 1.5 billion people have been employed in the water and nature resource dependent industries. And it is very clear that shortage of water is sure to create unemployment in the coming future. Now we come to India, the statistics show that northern India suffers from water crisis due to lack of capital and resources, whereas southern India suffers from water crisis due to its hard rock terrain and due to low percolation rate and lack of storage structures. So, you know, in India, we cannot have a one-size-fits-all policy. And if you look at the north-south divide, there are capacity issues in northern India and physical hydrological issues and terrain issues in South India. And therefore, skilling of workforce is very, very essential. And as you all know that water is a product of nature, we cannot think of nature in silos. So, even in skills, we require a more cross-disciplinary integration and technical knowledge, and at different levels. The skilled workforce is crucial for sustainable water management. It requires both technical and soft skills. But when you think of water, you only think of pump operators and you think of masons and builders, but also managers. We need both technical and soft skills. And technical skills, why are they required? They are required for water treatment, distribution, wastewater management, conservation, and hydrology. And soft skills are required, like, in any other sector, for communication, stakeholder engagement. Most important, leadership management is very, very crucial in water too. And building a skilled workforce cannot happen in a day. It needs education, it needs training, it needs development initiatives, but most of all, it also needs partnership, because government alone cannot create a skilled workforce for the whole of India. And so we need to invest in education, we need to invest in innovation, but most of all, we need to invest in collaboration. And so I'm very glad that I have got this opportunity to speak on water and jobs and water and skill force in a very collaborative manner, thanks to my friend. Now, there are many, several programs for water supply management in the Ministry of Jal Shakti, and the goal is to have water secure villages. And also, the first one is Jal Jeevan Mission, which you all must have heard about, with the objective of delivering good quality water supply to villages. Then we have the Atal Bhujal Yojana, which many of you may not have heard, because it is not in all the districts. It is for groundwater management. And of course, what I had, the National Water Mission with its Jal Shakti Abhiyan, which is basically for water conservation and management, and the water and sanitation, which Honorable PM has already talked about, the Swachh Bharat Mission. These are the several programs which look at creating a water secure. Now we are also transitioning to the green market and increasingly investing in alternative technologies. And so that is why skilling is also required for these new technologies of recycling wastewater, grey water, and rainwater harvesting measures. So, as I've already said, water cannot be dealt in silos. If we talk about technical and scientific experts, the list is very, very long, but I will, because it is also about educating the students present here about what are the sectors which you can go to. The technical side includes water auditors, social water experts, geologists, hydrogeologists, hydrologists, chemists for quality management related to water, hydrometeorologists, economists, civil engineers, remote sensing and GIS expert, geophysicists, agriculturists, and environmentalists. And these are basically to ensure that there's good governance and practices of water management at various levels should ensure water conservation, optimized usage, recycling, and reuse of water. And these, as I've already said, that they require competencies and skills to be created at all levels, not just, at the level of technicians or technical experts. But since water is such a community thing, we also need sensitization and capacity building at the Panchayat Raj institution level, urban local bodies level, at the water users association levels, at the self-help groups level, at the Pani Panchayats, and other stakeholders to the equitable and sustainable management of water resources. And since time immemorial, we have been managing water. It's not that, our ancestors didn't know how to manage water. In fact, we have launched a portal called the Jal Itihas portal, in which during the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we are showcasing 75 traditional water heritage structures, and one is from Sivsagar also, which has such beautiful traditional water heritage structures. So, they knew how to restore pond, maintain bore wells, build check dams, build tanks, and these have existed since time immemorial. And it has proven that, we can effectively inhibit the water crisis with minimal capital and no ecological side effects. Somebody is talking, so I would request that lady to please keep quiet because it's really disturbing me in my part.
I do all of disturbing
There's some
program.
lady's voice which is coming as a whisper. Okay, so going on, I think community participation can also effectively induce a state of common ownership. Remember when we were kids, I'm from Bihar, when I was a kid, my mom used to say that, अरे बिजली और पानी के लिए पैसे देने का क्या जरूरत है? So we used to, all houses used to have fixed meters, water was free. We used to have these deep tube wells in the house. And whenever, the water table went down, the bore well went down too. So always, water has been treated as a private property, which is not so in many of the, hill states of the Northeast. And in many places, like abroad also, in Israel, which has very, very scarce water resource availability, water is common. In fact, in Israel, they have an authority where they have, made water completely come under the. You cannot own water. So this thinking that, groundwater is for the community and not only for yourself, and that we have to think of water when it comes as a gift of nature to our households, as also an economic good of economic value to be respected, so that we don't, waste it. Because as I've said in the earlier deliberation in my first opening statement, that if we don't respect water and if we don't use water efficiently, mind you, by 1150, we are staring at a very bleak future. And that is why community ownership of water is what the Jal Shakti Ministry, the National Water Policy is advocating, that there should be a sense of belonging and a state of common ownership, that groundwater is not your feudal property. That is why there's an urgent need to upscale, because you see there's been a criticism that the current government programs like the State Rural Livelihood Mission, the MG Narega, they do have provisions for construction, operation and maintenance of waterworks and providing funds for that. But they say that it is just temporary, it is part-time, which is leading to a lot of structures being created, but which are not well maintained. So some of the tasks and responsibilities of trained workers at the community level, which I think we need to have a framework, and we are going to work on a framework, is defining the roles, responsibilities, and even the remuneration, state-wise or even local-wise, for these community level of skills that we require. First, I said, you need to dig well. So mason or plumber for laying the pipeline. We need a pump operator. Then we have many examples. We have Bhujal Jankars as hydrologists. Then we have Jal Sahelis, in Bundelkhand. They are engaged in reviving dry water bodies and they are responsible for desilting ponds. They are Dhara Sevaks for spring shed management, and then there are Pani Panchayats, which is a voluntary group of farmers engaged in collective management of surface and groundwater, and it is beautifully working in Orissa. And then we have the Swachh Grahis and Ashas who are engaged in, testing water quality. Then, as I've already said, Manrega and SRLM provides for construction, operation, and maintenance of waterworks. And then Central Groundwater Authority provides for water auditors. On that, I will talk in detail later. But we don't have a curriculum and certification requirement which can be of use for whole of India as yet. And we are working on that. And Jal Suraksha, in fact, Maharashtra is the only state, which has dared to constitute a state water resource authority, and it has integrated all the departments under one authority. And even if you need to dig a road for laying a water pipeline, you have to go to the authority. So, and it has laid principles for water monitoring, for water metering, water pricing, water tariff. So, similarly, they are the only state which have formed these Jal Surakshaks. They are trained and certified to monitor groundwater salination, handle water measuring instruments, and digitally share information with the Groundwater State and Development Authority. Then there are only 3 places where water managers, where role responsibility of water managers at the community level is defined. That is in Maharashtra. They are called Havaldar, Jalyaps, and Palkaris. In Kamau, they are called Chaukidar, and in Garhwal, they are called Kalalus. So, these were some of the skills which are required at the community level. Now, as I've already said, that we need a more efficient management, and agronomics is there, industrial practices are there. So we not only need these community skills, but we also require special skill sets, and that requires leveraging technology, and it requires familiarity with the new age technologies. So in water resource management also, we see that currently the water domain experts are lacking in many of the essential technologies and attributes which are very much needed, like the Internet of Things, data analytics, augmented reality and virtual reality, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics. So, we have to identify roles also for the modern resource management, and we have to do a gap analysis and plan for ensuring that, the skills are not only upgraded and upskilled, but we get new skills into the water domain, which is still considered a very, traditional CPW type of contractor-driven kind of department, where you have contractors, and they are the ones who bring in the the technology, and they do the work, and they bring in the skills. So mostly water resource department and irrigation department, I'm sorry to say, but in most states are very, very, contractor managed, where our essential engineers are within the system. Their skill sets are not being as upscaled as because it's basically outsourced. So that is something which we have to bring in. We have to get the students, all of you, to come in the water sector and provide and remain in government as government servants, and provide these new technologies that we need if we want to, go in for efficient use of water. Like in Karnataka, we have the SCADA initiatives. They have implemented it, and it's a beautiful scheme which has resulted in effective conservation of water, minimizing wastage, and ensuring its more equitable distribution. So what they do? The project has so many benefits because it automatically controls the canal network in absence of operators, and there's judicious water distribution, there's reduction in water loss, there's increased crop productivity, and they also do water auditing and accounting and online water demands, water billing, and revenue generation. So we need more SCADA-like technologies in our irrigation projects and in all our canal projects. And to do that, we need skilled workforce to operate these systems. So tasks which require modern skills, if I look at the technical skills, then it would be, planning, prioritizing, and knowledge of pumping, storage, transmission, purification, treatment of recycled water, then operation and maintenance of city water systems, then procedures for, various operating work groups, then preparation of budget and training programs also we would require. And if we look at managerial skills, we would also require people who can work with other divisions and who can ensure timely and effective coordination, provide the leadership skills, and manage, infrastructure master plans. But there's one skill which I just which I request you which will grow very big. So I would request that all of you start looking at it very, very. So water auditing and water conservation is aimed at undergraduate and graduate students in environmental engineering and science programs. And we sadly don't have a water auditor institute in India. But we have a water skill institute in the government. Like we have the National Water Academy in Pune, we have the National Institute of Hydrology in Roorkee, we have Nerivalam in Tezpur, we have the Valmi, Dharwad is good. Then we have the Center for Water Resource Management in Kerala. We have the Center Water and Power Research Department for Dams in Pune. Then we have Central Groundwater Research Training Institute in Raipur, and we have Center for Salinity Research also for coastal waters. Now we have all this, but we don't have a framework for skilling or developing capacities. And to that end, I'm very happy to announce that we have constituted a Bureau of Water Use Efficiency under the National Water Mission. And it has been constituted on the 20th of October. And it will promote, regulate, and control the efficient use of water through nudge initially, because water is also a very, very, as we all know, a very, very politically sensitive subject. So we will be nudging people, we will be introducing a new lingo in water, we will be developing frameworks for, water footprints. And you must have heard about water footprints, that 1 cup of coffee requires a huge amount of liters of water to be produced. Then your jeans require so much water. So sustainable clothing, plus blue labeling, like in Bureau of Energy Efficiency, you have these star labelings that LED bulbs are more efficient and they use less electricity. Similarly, we are thinking of, providing frameworks for fixtures which are more water efficient and promotion of those fixtures for people to buy. So Bureau of Water Use Efficiency is going to set the framework, and believe you me, if not today, maybe after 10 years, it will develop a whole host of frameworks in which we will require many, many technical skills. The first being water auditors. We only audit the industries. And these are just environmental auditors who also, audit the water Because CPCB and the state pollution control boards have these requirements. But this Bureau Water Use Efficiency is, mind you, growing to grow big, and therefore we invite all the students here to please think of water as a future for you and a job in water, because it will not only give you, professional satisfaction, but it will also be your contribution in saving the planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now I hand over it to our program chair, Dr. B. Kalyan Chakravarti.
Thank you very much. Archana madam is apne hokal huni se kiswe bhalke huna nai budhoy. What she's saying is that 3 out of 4 jobs, bahut kini jitu mane in 5 years, 10 years, ITI pura jikhini mane job bilak ahibo. ITI pura mane all for students, etu water sector at hobo. In water management, right from water conservation or pura, water utility, water management, water auditing. She's talking about mane amar jenekwa mane on packets you have kiman calories ase, kiman kini mane ya kiman calories ami kori asu, kiman water use hoise, tenekwa mane future hobo, because water is going to be the most critical commodity in the future. So we will have to design. In fact, I would like to request you 2 things. One is, of course, we have a water management, and actually it is also called plumbing skill unit, and it's rather narrow in terms of the skills that it has actually designed, because the sectors that you mentioned are so vast, in the sense it is not really included in the sector skill council. And therefore, first is one engagement perhaps with the water sector skill, in order to broaden the scope of the skills that are required in terms of the jobs that you mentioned. Because the jobs you mentioned are varied, right from, from Jal Mitras to conservation to auditing to environment to equity to various kinds of jobs. And perhaps some of the jobs are paid by the private sector, and some will probably be requiring government support. But whatever it is, first is to make the inventory of these skills, and secondly is to provide the kind of certification that is required so that the boys and girls can pick up those skills and therefore be eligible for the jobs that you're talking about. So engagement with the water sector, water skill council and the skill ministry, water skill council, ensuring that the jobs in the inventory that you mentioned have certain skills which are well defined, so that then the boys and girls can actually get the jobs that you have said. So that is my one request to you. Sabok moi to kobo bisarisu ki apna hokol jetia job bisaribo, future od bisaribo, to pani logo jurat taka jobs to lole, anything related to water is the future of all jobs. That is what I'm saying. That's what I wanted to tell her. I thank you. Would you like to say anything? One last word from you for the children.
Yes, respect water. We believe in the 5 R's. Reuse, reduce, recycle, recharge, and respect water. That is the way to go. And also, since Women's Day is coming, Jal Shakti se Nari Shakti bahut aati hai. Water empowers women.
Women power is power. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Archana Kalyan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Moi Okhomia kobo parilu heten kintu Kalyan mo kuha nai ki Okhomia kobo lage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was a senior bureaucrat, Archana Varma, Secretary and Additional Secretary and Commissioner for National Water Mission, Government of India. A huge round of applause for joining us all the way and taking time for IndiGlobal Bharat Summit.